Welcome to episode 86 of the Preferred Experience podcast. I somehow am able to do a podcast with Tiersa today. I'm super excited about. And I was talking with her last night, and a lot of times when I work out, I get done, I'm going to use yesterday as an example. So yesterday, I'm doing the workout where it's row. You're supposed to hit 14 calories for the woman or 18 calories in less than a minute. Get on the wall balls, and every 2 minutes you take a break and you do wall balls, as many as you can until you get to 150. And there's a 20-minute time cap, and I am going, and I'm not even remotely close to being done. And I see Seth in my class finish, and he finishes in the 11s, and I'm just like, I just don't get it. I don't understand how people can go so fast. And then Tiersa does it later, and she does better than that even. And I just don't know how to do it. I'm like, I've been doing CrossFit a long time, and I must not be getting it. So I'm trying to figure it out. So Tiersa is going to share some ideas that she shared with me last night.
So Chris just asked me, how do you attack a workout? How do you push through that pain and finish a workout feeling strong? So first of all, the first thing I would say is it's super important to know your ability and to not compare yourself to other people in the class, because everybody has different strengths, and your strengths. In fact, I just had this conversation with Mike Rutter and Mike Para about yesterday's workout, because they were saying, that I have an advantage for wall balls and rowing because I'm tall, which, if you compare, and they said the row wasn't even, because the women only had to do 14 calories and the men had to do 18 calories. So they said it wasn't even. However, if you compare someone who's a good rower, a female who's a good rower, with a male who's a good rower, we were getting off the rower about the same time. The difference was that because my cardio is good, because I run so many miles a week, X amount of miles a week, it helps my endurance. So like as the rounds continued, I didn't die off because I knew what my ability was, and I started with the end in mind. So that's actually probably my second point. So my first point is, don't compare yourself to others.
I do that a lot. Because
you tend to pair your weaknesses with other people's strengths. So knowing your ability and not comparing yourself to others is number one. Number two is start with the end in mind. That's something that I feel like I have learned how to be good at, is knowing how I'm going to feel at the end of a workout and starting with the end in mind. A lot of you guys know Bella Drewley. She's 15. She's very competitive. She really wants to go to the CrossFit Games. And so I worked with her for about a year last year, and that was one of the biggest things we focused on, was starting with the end in mind for her, because she had a tendency to kind of go out too hot and then die off. And it's really easy to do when you're working in a class where you have people of all different abilities. It's easy to go out too hard. Chris and I have done tons of races. It's the natural tendency to start faster than you think you should, and it never ever pays off.
It's a big weakness of mine too.
It just doesn't ever pay off. And so starting slower than you think is really the key. Starting with an end in mind. How am I going to feel at the end of yesterday's workout? It was a 14-calorie row, and then as many wall balls as you could get in 2 minutes, and then at the top of every 2 minutes you had to go back to the rower and get the 14 calories in. So don't compare yourself to others. Know your ability. Start with the end in mind. The third thing is to have a game plan. I almost always know my game plan before I start. So yesterday's workout, for example, and this may be really nerdy, and that's okay. I'm competitive, yes, and I like to do well, and I like to do my best. Like, whether I do well compared to others or not is beside the point. Monday's workout, I was the last person finished in my class, dead last. I was the person where everybody was cheering me on to finish, and I finished several minutes past the last person, But I did what I felt like worked for me. And that there was bar muscle ups in it. It was a lot of bar muscle ups. I had to scale those, not scale them, but I had to break them up a different way than somebody who's really good at bar muscle ups. So I didn't compare myself to others. I did what I felt like was going to work best for me, and that put me in dead last, and that's okay because I still did my best. As long as I feel like I'm doing my best at the end of a workout, it doesn't matter so much what the score is. So I always have a plan in mind. I was driving to the gym yesterday, and I was thinking of the workout, and I was like, okay, this is a workout that I could potentially do well at. I'm a good rower, and I love wall balls. So I'm thinking to myself, how long does 14 calories take? Takes about 45 seconds. Now, can I keep that up? Is that something that I can continually do? And I'm pretty sure that I can do it within 45 to 50 seconds. So that's kind of what my framework was, 45 to 50 seconds. And then the wall balls, I know I can do 30 wall balls in a minute. So I was planning to have about a minute for the wall balls. I knew I could do between 25 and 30. So going into it, I thought, okay, 25 minimum is what my goal is. That would allow me to finish in 12 minutes if I could do 25 per round. So starting the workout, right before we started, Seth Trout kind of like poked at me, hey, you ready to lose this workout? And in my head, in fact, I actually said this out loud to him. I said, are you ready to do 25 wall balls per minute? And he goes, no. And I'm like, well, then you better be ready to lose this workout because that's my plan. And so I am competitive, and that does push me for sure. But you don't have to be competitive to have a game plan. You can be competitive with yourself or others. For me, it really pushes me to work out with other people. So going into the workout, I knew I was going to do between 25 and 30 wall balls per round. So starting that first round, I had enough time to get 30 in. Second round, same thing. By the third round, I could start to feel it in my lungs. But at this point, I'm like, well, I've already done 60. All I have to do is 3 more rounds of 30 and then I'm done. So that's where that's number 4. That's where the competitiveness kicks in. Yeah, I'm tired. I finished that workout with my lungs bleeding. I could feel my chest hurting. I had Fran lung, if some of you guys might know what that is. I definitely pushed super, super hard. But I would say that I went in with a game plan. I stuck to my game plan, actually was able to exceed my game plan because I always try and err a little bit on the cautious side when I have a game plan. And I was able to do better than I thought I was going to do. So that grit at the end of the workout is something that is learned. You have to learn how to push through and just suffer through because every single person in the gym is tired. Everyone's hurting. It just matters who's going to give in to that hurt and who's not. Sorry, there's a mosquito out here. Who's going to give in to the hurt and who's going to push through it. So that's the part that really differentiates. That competitiveness comes in at the end of a workout. Mm-hmm. So today's workout, Seth Trout and I were back and forth. And he was creeping up on me. I was starting to fatigue really bad. My lats were just on fire on those rope climbs. And my last 3 rope climbs were, I almost couldn't finish them. I couldn't believe how bad my lats just gave out on me. And I did my very, very best, and that's all that matters is I finished that workout feeling like I could not have done better. That's how I like to feel. I don't want to feel like, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I would have done this. I went in with a game plan, I stuck to it, and I felt like I pushed as hard as I could. So the reason that's important is because, in my opinion, that is how you get results the fastest, is by pushing through the pain and digging in when it gets gritty like that. Push hard through the end of a workout. If you think of, 5 people you admire in their workouts, or even in life, period, do they slow down at the end when it gets hard, or do they speed up and push harder? Not one person I know that I admire slows down or gives up at the end of whatever they're doing, whether it's a workout or anything hard. They dig in and they push and they stick to their game plan. And knowing, because they knew what their game plan was at the beginning, it makes it much easier to stick to it and to push hard at the end. So that's kind of the focus that I have when I work out, when I do a lot of things. But I wasn't born this way necessarily. When I first started CrossFit,
I don't believe that.
I had to learn. I had to learn my abilities, my body, what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. I had to, like strength pieces, for example, are not my forte. So like if there's a workout that's a heavy workout and I'm working out with Megan Myers, like I know I'm going to have to pace myself on the strength piece and then try and make up time on the cardio piece. And so that is something I know about myself. So if I tried to pace myself with Megan, I would blow up at the beginning and it would be a terrible workout. So I just have to go off of what works best for me and know my ability.
Awesome. So there were 3 things then.
4 things.
4 things, okay.
Let's see if I can remember
A recap.
them. Know your ability and come up with a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what were the other 2? Know your ability, come up with a game plan. You're putting me on the spot. I can't remember them
We
now.
can go back and we can get them, but
We'll list them.
yep,
in
we'll
the show
list them in the
notes.
show notes. So, awesome. What you shared today really helped me. I'm going to have to take a different approach. So I'll listen to this podcast a couple times so I can get it ingrained in my head, but always
don't compare yourself to others.
don't
That
compare
was one
yourself
of the
to
other
others.
ones.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's 3 of them, but we'll think of the 4th. We'll figure out the 4th in a minute.
Push hard when it gets. Have grit.
Have grit.
Have grit.
At the end.
Yeah.
I think that was number 4.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect.
And just like know that we're all here to have fun, but it's fun to know, to be able to push past your own abilities. Like that's the whole point of being in a group setting and having a coach, is to push beyond what you would do on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that going into a workout, even if you're scaling a movement or scaling a weight or whatever, like we're designing this for you, where your fitness level is at. So if you were to compare yourself to others who have been at the gym, like I've been CrossFitting for 7 years, so that would be like me comparing myself to a professional CrossFitter or somebody who competes a lot. Like I've only done 2 competitions, and so that wouldn't be fair to do that. And so you wouldn't want somebody that's new to CrossFit, that's maybe been CrossFitting for 6 months, to compare themselves to somebody that's been doing CrossFit for 10 years or spends a lot of energy, being good at CrossFit.
Yep.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you for being on here and
Of course.
taking the time to share that.
Hopefully that helped.
It was awesome. Thank you.